Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel for a Lego build. This is going to be a very quick one. I'm actually packing to go on a quick vacation with the missus for a few days, but I know I'm not going to have time when I get home to actually film a full-length video, so I'm trying to do one for this week and one for next week right away. However, my one for next week is an August release that I found much earlier in stores, and I don't know the entire copy infringement. I don't know how that works, posting a Lego early. So we're going to tread the water with this one. Now, this I got both from Target. This one released in June. The Pokemon one, they both retail for $5, 23 pieces, 56 pieces, of course. Now, I actually don't have any of the Lego Pokemon sets, and the bulk of them were actually put out early, but they were not copy dated, but like actual dated sets. So Target was not able to sell those before August 1st. However, you could buy the polybag. I don't know why, and I'm recording this a little bit before August, obviously, and you guys will see this beforehand as well. But it's definitely odd that this one wasn't. I assume it's just because it's the polybag. It's not like it's anything incredibly special, but out of the two, I would take the Bluey every day of the week. I mean, come on, look at the cute minifigure. And of course, this one's going to be Fancy Restaurant with Bingo, and then the trainer supplies for Pokemon. Like I said, since I don't have any of the Pokemon sets, I don't have any like the Smart Bricks or anything. I did not purchase any of those early, even if I could. I'm holding out for Rayquaza, and that's not one I think I even saw on the shelves, but so it is what it is. That's definitely the one I'm looking to pick up out of that entire crew. But in terms of the polybags, like I said, they both retail for about $4.99, and you'll be able to see the Pokemon one in stores either now or in August 1st, so definitely to keep an eye out. There's a huge amount of sets coming out for the Pokemon lineup, so whether or not you actually prefer them over the Mega Bloks ones, it is what it is. But obviously Lego is going full steam ahead on a lot of the Pokemon sets. So without further ado, guys, let's get started on a very quick build. Alright everybody, so here is the final build, or yeah, I guess builds. Of course, again, these are smaller, but I did want to do something a little bit just quick with vacation and everything else going on. So we will start with the Bluey set for this one. Probably my favorite of the two. I do like that the Pokemon set does have a couple really cool features going on, but I mean, Fancy Restaurant with Bingo is definitely pretty great. The egg is also not locked in here, so that'll probably fly at some point. We got some beans here. I love the little lime. This color piece could be on anything, and I would absolutely love it. As for the minifigure, outside of this, you know, the 4 colors up top also look really nice. I mean, it's a 4+ set, so of course it's going to be relatively small, but I still like that they do some of these small poly bags for the kids, especially the Bluey figures. If you're like me and don't really have a lot of space for these guys, the Animal Crossing Village is exactly where a lot of my Bluey sets go. I have one in the city right now, and then this one is going to go in the Lego Animal Crossing Village. Little chef's hat, of course a fork, similar mold to the other Bluey sets, and then of course the tail on the back. In terms of the Pokemon set, it's a little bit different. We have a lot of these small pieces here, and if my camera would ever figure out what a Pokeball is, yeah. I don't know what these berries are really supposed to be. I thought this was a Kelpsy berry and a Nanab, of course, but I don't think it is, so I'm honestly not going to take a whole lot of guesses. They're just listed as berries, and since it's an early release, you know, I really don't know who I can ask about that. But overall, the berries are really cool. We have a couple really cool designs here. I wish I knew what they were, but even the Lego.com site doesn't really have anything for that currently. So I don't know if that'll be updated fully in the long run or not, but you know, it's cool. I like a lot of the little berry details. Pokemon berry growing was like a very satisfying thing, especially in the Gen 3 games. So I had a really good time with that. Down goes one of them. Down goes Fraser. Really cool colorations on some of them. They're a little bit hard. Oh, I don't know why my camera never picks up these little things. But yeah, they're pretty neat. I would say the Pokeballs are really solid, as well as the potion bottle. I think they did a solid job on the potion bottle itself, the colors, the shape. I'm interested to see size-wise between this stuff and the actual like buildable figures. I'm just curious what they'll end up being. I don't know how I feel about Lego Pokemon yet. I think they're okay, but I don't know. I'm curious to get my hands on some of the new ones. I'm going to do Rayquaza for sure, and then I'm leaning... Oh, I had a couple of them pulled up, and I don't know why I got rid of them, but I think, outside of the polybags, I think I'm going to be doing, Rayquaza for sure is the one I want. Um, I would love the iconic moment for the trainer, Professor Oak especially, but I don't know if I'm down 300 on that. Charmander versus Geodude, Rayquaza, and maybe the Berry Bash, Bulbasaur, and Bidoof. I think those are the main ones for now. I want Charizard more, but again, it's about price for some of the Pokemon sets. Like, they're really neat, but they are expensive, and it's because of the smart brick. Like Jigglypuff's really affordable. Um, Even some of the starter types aren't too bad. So like, it's not terrible for some of these guys, but like, the $700 sets, obviously those are going to be tough. For the Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise is the coolest one. The iconic moments I'm really interested in. And I would love, honestly, I would buy the minifigures just off to the side, and I still might, but the issue with a lot of the Pokemon sets are you're going to have the like minifigure obviously scale. So like this, and then you're going to have like the buildable versions, and I'm just curious if they're going to have enough to sustain both of those long term in terms of play features, because you have the minifigures, you have a couple of like the molds for like Eevee and Pikachu, like you have a couple small ones, but it's going to be interesting how they kind of like put those out there, because like Rayquaza, my personal favorite set and my second favorite Pokemon outside of Charizard, of course, does have a minifigure, and it's interesting. I should just show you guys at this point. It's interesting. I gotta get my tripod up here. There we go. It's interesting because like there's a minifigure, and I'm just curious to see. So like you have that, but then you have like the bigger versions of them, and I'm just curious overall how it's gonna go, because like you have a range. So like this one I really like. Minifigures look awesome. But then scale wise, like you have the molded Eevee and the molded Pikachu. I'm just curious how they're gonna go, but I don't know. I like both of them. I like this. Again, I think a couple themes into this we'll see. But like affordable wise, if you're looking for some of the smaller ones, I think this one's really solid. In terms of like the smaller sets, I really want Garchomp, but again, we'll see. Mewtwo, really cool one. I don't know how I feel about the Mewtwo build itself, but we'll see. Arcanine's gorgeous. I love Gengar. They have a lot of my favorites in this theme. This one is definitely coming home. But yeah, Rayquaza is by far and away the coolest one here. I think that one actually looks the best as well. But I mean, come on. That's awesome. So definitely Rayquaza, definitely a couple of smaller sets, but I don't want to ramble on everything about this, but since we are talking about some of the Pokemon theme, I figured I would at least bring it up. We do have Zinnia there. I would have liked, I don't know. I think this is really cool. Minifigure wise, yeah, I guess that does make sense. I think Cynthia would have been pretty cool too, but you have the whole Pokemon community after that one. So, but yeah, we'll go back to talking about the actual poly build now, but these are the Pokemon sets we'll be looking at for August. It's going to be really interesting. The only one not up for pre-order is Rayquaza. How dare they? How dare they do that? After that minorly quick detour, in the background, you have two targets. These are essentially so trainers can actually practice throwing Pokeballs at them. How accurate can we get here? No smart feature, I don't think, with any of these. They're just mainly like little details. We have a standard Pokeball. Very nice. Cool little build. And then we have the Premier Ball, which looks really solid. I would love nothing more than if they did a little build like these for every Pokemon set. I actually did forget to touch on one of those. There's also going to be a Premier Ball, I think a little like standalone build as well. I'm not sure if that's out yet or not. But yeah, overall, I mean, they're really cool. I did enjoy both of them. Of course, they are polybags, so again, you're not going to be really writing a new chapter here too much, but I think they're solid builds. Let me know if you're going to be picking any of the Pokemon sets up. Again, I'm looking at a couple of them at least, but Rayquaza by far and away is 100% what I'm interested in, and we'll go from there. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this really quick build and discussing some of the Pokemon sets. Let me know if you're buying any of them, what you think about them. Would you rather have minifigure scales like I want, or do you like the smart play sets, anything like that? And I'll see you guys next time. Happy building, everybody.